Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about some of the mistakes I see new developers make when they start learning React. So before we talk about what are those mistakes, the first question we all need to ask is why should we learn React at first place? Like why bothering learning React when we have JavaScript? Why can't we do everything in JavaScript and why do we need all these fancy frameworks? Well, the easiest answer is these frameworks or these libraries make your life easy while you're making web application. So that's the main goal. So whoever made React, they had this goal that they will make React easier than building application on vanilla JavaScript. So that was their goal. So that's the reason developers use React or Svelte or Vue or any of these frameworks because that makes our life easy as a developer. But that doesn't mean that you don't need JavaScript. So that will be our first point. So before you start diving in React or Svelte or Vue, just make sure that you do at least the basics of JavaScript so that at least you know the syntax of JavaScript, at least you know how to create functions, loops, variables, anything in JavaScript. Because when you'll be working in frameworks like React, you would need those knowledge. Ultimately, you will be writing JavaScript, but in a React way. Under the hood, React is compiling all your code to JavaScript. For any of the frameworks, they'll compile all your code. Even TypeScript will be compiled down to JavaScript. So make sure that before you start diving in React or Vue, you have enough foundation of doing JavaScript. At least 2 to 3 months you should spend just doing JavaScript, and then you can move to React. And now let's move to our second point. Doing too much JavaScript before React. And I know you're like, can you do overkill with JavaScript while you want to learn React? Yes, you can. I have seen a lot of new developers who would spend 6 months, 1 year just doing JavaScript. They would do small projects or big projects in JavaScript because they thought they would need that much of knowledge before they can jump into React, which is a wrong statement because see, React has its own way of doing things. So I'm not saying that you should not learn JavaScript enough before you jump into React. That was my first point, that you should have enough knowledge of doing JS before you jump into React. But you can certainly overkill JavaScript before you start doing React. Because what would happen that you will learn all the way of working in vanilla JavaScript, and then when you move to React, you'll be like, I need to do these things differently. And why did I learn, or why did I waste my 6 month or 12 months doing JavaScript? Well, first of all, those were not waste because ultimately the more knowledge you have in JavaScript will certainly help in building projects in React. There is no argument against it. You cannot deny that fact. But the thing is, if your race is against time, if you want to get a job, then you should not wait 6 months or 1 year before you jump into React. So yeah, you should have enough JavaScript. And I don't know how to quantize, I don't know how to measure how much is enough. But if you are able to read a simple React code easily, you will be like, okay, we're creating some buttons, there's some event handling or event listening going on, you create some function, you create some loop. If you are able to understand that, then I think that's enough to jump into React, because React is a huge library now. You will be doing a lot of things in React. So I wouldn't spend way too much time doing JavaScript. I'll spend maybe 2 to 3 months. Well, it depends on person to person. I don't know how much you can learn in 2 or 3 months. Maybe if you're like spending 8 to 10 hours a day, then I think 2 months more than enough. Make small projects in JavaScript so that you have enough understanding, and then straight directly jump into React or Vue or Svelte, any other framework, because ultimately you'll get the best developer experience in those framework than doing vanilla JavaScript. And I know some of the people wouldn't like that statement. They are more like, we should have more vanilla stuff, and they have their points, and I can understand that. But ultimately, I still believe that React is a better way of writing JavaScript than writing vanilla JavaScript. That's my opinion. You can disagree with that. That's totally fine. And my third point is doing everything with ChatGPT. I mean, I have to confess, I do a lot of things in ChatGPT now. But the thing is, I do in ChatGPT, I do the most basic stuff. If I don't want to write the CSS, then I ask ChatGPT to write the CSS. If I don't want to create a loop, I ask it to make a loop for me. So I do basic things in ChatGPT. So this is my instruction if you are learning React, that limit your usage of ChatGPT if you want to learn React. Because see, I spent last 5 years working with React, I didn't have ChatGPT, so I had to do everything in with either Google or Stack Overflow. I had to find my answers. But nowadays, it's relatively easier to find answers, and I think it's relatively easier to find solution these days. And if you're a beginner developer, if you're just starting to learn code, then I would recommend limit your usage of ChatGPT, because it can certainly give you the best answer, and you would think like you understand something, but in reality, you might not get the concept. So limit the use of ChatGPT while learning React or any other framework. You can, I mean, end of the day, if you can't understand something, you can still use ChatGPT. I mean, it will give you a script. Like if you're not able to understand something, it will spill out beautiful sentences. You can even write like teach me like I'm 5, and it will give you answer like you're 5. So use it that way so that you can build your muscle of understanding, not to get to the solution. I mean, if that's the point, then you'll be no better than ChatGPT. And why would a company hire you if you're just as good as ChatGPT? That's the question for you. And the fourth point is not using React's new frameworks. So React is a library. I don't know why people call it library. It certainly behaves like a framework. Since inception, it's a framework, but they call it libraries. I don't know why that was the selling point, but you need to learn at least those meta frameworks like Remix and Next.js if you want to build new things or cool things in React. And I know if you're starting to learn React, you would be probably feeling too overwhelmed that first of all, you need to do React, and then you need to learn new framework like Remix or Next.js. So Remix and Next.js, they are meta frameworks. I mean, they will build stuff around React. So most of the projects in production right now move to either of these frameworks, either Remix or Next.js in past 2-3 years, because see, React is evolving, and I think even React's team can't cope up with the stuff they are pushing. And that's why companies like Vercel creating these frameworks where you can leverage React, and then they have built technology on top of React. So now like it gives you the superpower to do a lot of things with minimum infrastructure. You don't have to write too much code to make your app work. Initially, I would say like don't depend too much on Next.js or Remix. But I mean, if you eventually have to work with these frameworks, then why don't you just learn it, right? I don't think you will ever work in a single page application. Now, everything is moving server side. And to leverage that, we have frameworks like Next.js, Remix. So if you have enough time, just do your basics of React and then jump into Next.js. I know you have to do now JavaScript, and then you have to do React, and then you need to move to Next.js. It looks a lot, it is a lot, but that's the thing. Like there is no bargain. Like we just have to do it. There is no other way. So now we will move to fifth point, which is actually my favorite point. So the last point is not failing enough or not getting irritating enough. I mean, end of the day, if you're not struggling enough, I don't think you are learning enough. That's my philosophy, and you may disagree with it, but I mean the whole coding things, it's not strictly related to React or JavaScript. If you're learning to code, you will have to suffer. I mean, you'll be spending hours, days, weeks fixing a small bug, and there is no way around of that. I mean, you can't shorten that path. You can't just take shortcut, and there is just no other way than building strong muscles of feeling this anxiety or this feeling that you are so close to your solution, but you can't reach it, right? Eventually, you will reach your target. So in case your target is getting a job, then make sure you're failing enough. Make sure you're getting irritating enough. I mean, you have to, if you're targeting to get your first job, then you just have to do it. There's no other way. I don't know how many people agree with it, but it's a grind. It's a serious grind, especially now when there are not enough jobs and a lot of people want to do code because it's free now. You can just go to YouTube and learn coding. Yeah, I mean, it will be a struggle, but end of the day, if your goal is to get a job, I hope you'll get that. And I think that's enough from this video. I hope this probably gives you some solution or some insight, like how can you avoid these mistakes and make yourself a better coder. Well, that's it from today's video. I'll see you in next video. Thanks a lot for watching.